enough dicking around.
Okay, this is going to be my review for the Safariland 7TS holster for the Sig Sauer P320 compact with a Streamlight TLR-7 light attached to it. As you can see here, this holster will accommodate other compact lights by a few other brands, but I'm mainly going to focus on this holster for this gun and this light, and it's kind of going to be a review of the 7TS holsters in general. Anyway, let me start by my experience with this holster for this gun. Now, I included a video at the end of me drawing this gun from the holster so you can see how it sounds and get a vague idea of how it looks. But before I recorded that video, let me explain what I did. The fit was pretty tight, as I figured it would be based on my experience with previous 7TS holsters for this particular gun and for certain other models. So I tried to break in the holster over a weekend period that was just over 72 hours while I was working. Day one, I went above and beyond. I strapped this gun onto a belt around a gun case as if somebody was actually carrying the gun on their hip upright, and left it that way for a whole day straight. Then day two, I did the same thing, except I left the gun upside down, wrapped around the gun case as if someone was carrying the gun upside down, just to kind of get the gun to move around in different directions and loosen up the holster. And day three, I just left it sitting on the table upright, and I came home and laid it on its side in a different direction and went to bed, woke up, took it out of the holster, and it still felt pretty tight, but it does seem like it's loosened up, and you can tell it in the video. However, even in the video, you can tell the draw still sounds kind of rough, kind of gritty, especially when you compare it to some of the other holster draws I've included in this video. The first video I included is of me drawing my Glock 22 from my level 3 7TS holster. That's a duty holster. So you can compare how that sounds and looks to how this holster sounds and looks. Anyway, so after doing all that, still seems pretty tight, as I figured it would be, because when I first got this gun, I got a non-light bearing 7TS holster, and it was really tight. I had to really jam the gun in there to get it to lock into place, and I had to really just yank it out. I couldn't draw it, I had to yank it out. Sent that one back, got another one. It wasn't much better. Got a third one. That one finally fit better. It was still tight, but it would work. And it did eventually loosen up over time. However, another thing I noticed for this particular gun is that it was leaving marks on the slide of my gun. Safariland claimed it wasn't scratches or scratching the finish. They market the 7TS holster as being non-abrasive to the finish of your firearm. And before anybody goes on the firearm is a tool bullshit, I know. But hear me out here. If they're going to advertise a holster as being non-abrasive to the finish of the firearm, it probably should be. I'm just saying. And the reason that it's disappointing to me is because the first 7TS holster I ever got, as you can see here in this video, was a FDE colored Safariland 7TS holster for a Sig Sauer Mark 25. Now, that was about the time that everyone was transitioning away from the Blackhawk Serpa holsters, and Safariland had just came out with the 7TS holsters, and I was trying to find a holster that would fit the Mark 25, because apparently it's an issue finding a properly fitting holster for the Mark 25 because it doesn't have the standard SIG rail, it has the 1913 rail. So that's what turned me on to it. I tried it the first time, the fit straight out of the box was perfect. It was smooth, fit just right, the draw was smooth, popped into place perfectly, and didn't leave any marks or anything on the gun. And you can see that in the video. That's a smooth draw. It pops right into place like it's supposed to. So when I get these 7TS holsters from for other models, and it's a tight, gritty fit and leaving marks on the gun, it's kind of disappointing that the quality seems to not be the same as the first one I got, and that maybe it's going downhill, or maybe they just have trouble getting the specs right for certain models of guns. I don't know. But a little disappointing. And again, I know a firearm's a tool, but I like to minimize the wear. I'm fine with wear. Don't give me that shit about leaving it in the safe. I'm fine with wear that comes with carrying a gun daily and training with it. I get it. I'm fine with it. But again, I like to minimize it, especially in case I want to sell the gun. Don't anticipate selling this gun, but there's other guns I had in the past that I sold and didn't anticipate getting rid of back then either. But I don't know what the deal is. I had a similar issue with a P320c that I had at the time and was trying to find a holster for. Went through 3 7TS holsters, kind of like I did for the P320 compact, before I finally got one that fit, that was still a little tight. So again, I don't know if it's just something they have trouble with certain models, or if their quality control has started to go downhill from when they first released these holsters. I don't know. And then, as you can see here, those look like scratches to me on the finish. I don't care. It's my department issue Glock 22. You know, shit's gonna happen, especially with a duty gun. Whatever, no big deal. I'm just showing that as evidence that I don't think the holster is completely non-abrasive. I mean, maybe it is if they make the specs just right and everything's perfect, but seems to be they can't always guarantee perfection in that area. Anyway, overall, it's a great holster. I just wish that Safariland would make sure they have the correct specs for certain models of guns so the holsters will fit certain models of gun correctly, especially since I'm not the only person who's had this issue with the P320 compact fitting into a 7TS holster. Anyway, the holster sits comfortably on your hip. It's a great holster for open carry. It has good retention. You can use it for concealed carry if you wear like a loose button-up shirt and you're using the paddle attachment. However, it's not going to conceal so well under like a knit polo or a t-shirt so well. But it's a great holster. I like it, especially for open carry. Or if you're using the QLS system and you're wearing body armor and you need to wear a drop holster, you can transition from your paddle holster or your belt loop attachment to your drop leg attachment. Or if you go hiking, you wear a pack on your back and you got a strap around your waist from the pack. It's helpful then to transition. Overall, I've been satisfied with the system, with the holster system. Just certain models I have trouble finding a good fit for. I included a photo of the holster on my waist so you can see how it looks. It's really not that much bigger than the non-light bearing version of the holster. They really did keep it to a minimum. They still have that peg at the bottom for some reason. I know it was there before to keep the gun in place since the light stuck out further than the gun did, but now the light's kind of flush with the barrel or the muzzle of this gun, so I don't know why they did that on this one, but whatever. But I also forgot to add, if it wasn't for this holster spray here, I probably wouldn't have got the draw on the holster to smooth out as much as it did. Between letting the gun sit in there and breaking it in over 72 hours, plus adding that spray before I shot these videos, was a major help. So I shot that spray into the to this holster before I shot this video. So I had to do all that to get it to loosen up. To me, that seems like a lot to break in a holster that's supposed to be form fitted. Anyway, here are the videos. The first one is of me drawing from my duty holster with my Glock 22, so you can compare the sounds. And the second video is of me drawing from this holster, so you can see how it sounds, how it looks in regards to how smooth the draw is. Also, don't forget to shop through Amazon Smile if you do any Amazon shopping, and ensure that the Gun Owners Foundations gets the proceeds from your shopping. That way they can fight for protecting our Second Amendment rights. Thank you.
Guess it's loosening up a little.